Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to start a new chapter in political science. Previously we have seen about what is democracy and why democracy. First chapter actually basically according to syllabus of 9 standards. And in 8th standard we have learned about democracy as well. So what is democracy? Comparison of democratic country with non-democratic country, means other forms of government, as well as in 8th standard we have seen about the constitution, meaning of constitution, need of constitution. So today in this chapter we are going to start about the constitution as well. According to your chapter, this chapter begins with one case study about South Africa, but according to new CBSE guidance, this entire section is removed. So we are no longer going to discuss about this example of Africa. Instead of we are going to begin from the constitution. So first of all, let's see about meaning of the constitution. What do you mean by a constitution? Let me tell you basic thing about constitution from zero. So if about school, we follow certain rules and regulations about timing, as well as about various rules regarding discipline, classroom manner, a lot more. Similarly, if you know about various games, whether you play on cell phone, mobile phone, gaming console, or if you play outside in the ground, so such games have certain rules and regulations, and many games they have written rules and regulations. If you play mobile games, so there are rules and regulations already are in digital form, verbally written. Similar like cricket or football or Olympic or any other sports or games, there are rules and regulations to be followed. Those rules and regulations are not decided by any umpire, referee or someone else, but basically those rules and regulations are written from, and upon those rules and regulations participants and organizers and all others are agreed, right? So those written rules and regulations, that is called constitution for the game, particular game. So similar about the country, like if we talk about different country, a democratic country, non-democratic country, basically not mandatory to have rules and regulations, because previously you have seen about monarchical form of government, where monarch enjoys powers. They can make their decisions upon their choice, their wish. There is no longer restriction upon them. But if democracy means rule of people, so rules and regulations are required. So we have written document which embed various principles for the country. Principles for the country like government has to follow, as well as people they have to follow as well. So in democracy there are certain basic rules and regulations, and then government and citizen both have to follow. So that written document of rules and regulations, that is called constitution. So let's find out more about the constitution. First, there is a question: why do we need a constitution? Why there is requirement for the constitution? So of course, for smooth running of the country, we need a set of rules and regulation principles. So as well as government, how to form government, how that government to rule. So various questions are there in the country. So the person cannot decide it, because this is a democratic country. So constitution is a supreme law, which are rules and regulation principles, as well as guiding values for the government. So this is called supreme law for any country, mainly here for democratic country. And people, those who live in the country, citizen and people, they also accept those rules and regulations, and they have to follow. There is no option. As supreme law, so people have to follow these rules and regulations. So constitution does many things. Apart from rules and regulations, there are some guiding values as well. Lots of things are there. Further we will discuss about those things, what things include in the rules and regulations, as well as what more things apart from rules and regulations in the constitution. So basic 4 things here given in your textbook. Very first thing, it generates degree of trust among people. Plus, country like India, we know that different people accommodate here. People, those who follow different religion, they belong to different castes, they practice various cultures and traditions, right? As well as they speak different languages, they have different kind of food, they celebrate different festivals. That we refer in single word, that is diversity. Right. So, on the basis of this diversity, sometimes they divide into different groups: religious group, linguistic groups, regional groups. Right. So sometimes problems among these groups, distrust between these groups. So, how to set a degree of trust among these various groups? So, constitution plays important role here. It generates degree of trust among different people, different group of people, different groups. So, if no constitution, if no such kind of trust, it may lead to conflict among different groups within a country. So, here constitution plays important role. So, it generates a degree of trust and coordinate that is necessary for different kind of people, those who live together in one safe nation. That is first importance. Second, it specifies how the government will be constituted. Generally, we know that in democracy, we elect our rulers, we elect the government. So, how to elect, how the government to be constituted, how the government to be formed. So, system of government is fundamental principles of election, system of election, various stages of election. So, those everything described in the constitution. Or that is why constitution is required. If no rules and regulation, no guidance, right? So, how to government form, how to conduct election, decision taken by certain people? No, that is not feasible. So, here certain procedures are required. So those procedures specified in the constitution. That is second one. Third one, it lays down limit on the powers of the government and tell us what the rights of the citizen. As in democracy, there are certain responsibilities of government, as well as at the same time they have certain powers too and limitation of power too. In non-democratic government, like in the dictatorship, dictator enjoys that full powers and full rights, no limitation. There is no one those who can control them. But in democracy, constitution controls the government. Government cannot go beyond the constitution. So there are certain limits of power which provides safeguard to their citizens. As well as at the same time, citizens have certain responsibility, and more important, in democracy we prefer that the citizen, people are in the center. So here rights of people are necessary. So citizens' rights are also prescribed in the constitution. So that is third one. Limit of government's power as well as rights of the citizen. Next one. And the last one here. Here actually there are many more. Here if we can enlist them, there are lots of things to be counted. But according to your textbook here, 4. So the fourth one, it expresses the aspiration of the people about creating good society. Of course, aspiration of people, ambitions of the people, they want to create good society. Great society in the way of like they want to create harmony in the society, peace, harmony, prosperity. All of us want these basic things, happiness, right? So that only can we can reach our ultimate goal of happiness. Otherwise, conflict, violence, and lots of things made possible. So here, Constitution provides guidance as well as way for the better society, for the good society. So so aspiration of people to create good society fulfilled by the Constitution. So here, Constitution is required. Thus, we can say that Constitution is required for any country. Even those countries are non-democratic countries, like United Kingdom, a non-democratic country, Thailand, monarchical form of government, right, as well as powered by military. But still they have their constitution, they follow their constitution. Monarch also that the rule on the limit of constitution. Older time there were no constitution, means monarch monarch rule whatever they wished for, right? But now no longer this system is exist. So whether democratic country or not democratic country, generally they have their constitution. Yes, they have different guiding values. They have different philosophy of constitution, guiding value of constitution. We'll discuss further. So basically, I want to say here that every country has constitution, but it is not mandatory. But yes, it is mandatory for democracy. If democracy, then they must have their constitution. So after the war with Britain during the colonial era in India, America they decided to make their constitution. Actually, that our constitution was already in their process. Our freedom fighter they wanted to create a good society, a good nation. So they thought about the constitution. Even at the time of struggle with Britain. After the revolution, French people, you have learned about the French Revolution as well. So after the French Revolution, after the revolution, they formed the constitution, where first basic constitution, they decided that the republic, constitutional republic, so monarchy along with the constitution, right? And after this Jacobin and all, they finally that declared that republic nation, and republic nation which is ruled by the constitution as a supreme law. So since that it has become practice in all democracies, a written constitution as safeguard, right? So here this is about the constitution. Now about the Indian constitution. I think you got the idea about the constitution, means what is constitution, why do we need constitution. Now about the Indian constitution. We'll discuss about the making of Indian constitution first, then after basic principles and philosophy of Indian constitution in upcoming video. Thank you so much.